Compared to the first meeting, I think the IGF is now sort of emancipating itself from WSIS in various respects. The first years, also the preparation of the first meeting, was very much influenced by this traumatic experience of ideological contests between those who are principally in favor of the current model of internet governance and on the other side those who really dislike it. There was no compromise possible, there was no convergence with regard to the opinions, so people left WSIS with the experience that there is a deep division or gap between different positions. And lots of people were afraid that the IGF would continue on that path, would just repeat this experience. So over the first year, lots of people were very cautious about what we should actually address, which kind of topics, and which we should leave aside. So there was a very narrow range of topics that could be discussed in a consensual fashion, and that has changed completely. Right now, people are much more open to put controversial topics on the agenda, and people have much more trust in the IGF's capability of dealing with controversial topics in a constructive manner. And if not constructive in the sense of producing a good outcome, then at least in a way where different positions can be sort of put on the table without creating a major crush. The mandate lists a lot of different functions of the IGF that all have to do with communication, networking, facilitating, but people still interpret the core of the mandate in very different ways. There are organizations or countries that think internet governance in the narrow sense, meaning the management of critical internet resources, is what the IGF is about. Others have a completely different idea. And in a way, these old arguments continue now, structured by the mandate of the IGF. And while I was listening to what people thought the IGF is about, I thought my personal opinion is that what the internet badly needed was a space independent of any existing organization where people can discuss internet governance, where they can bring up new problems or challenges and discuss them with other stakeholders. This concerns specifically problems that cannot be dealt with in one country or by one stakeholder. It is really about the IGF is about bringing together various players from various regions of the planet to think together about problems, not necessarily in the way that would lead to decisions, but in a way where we learn to develop a common perception of it. We are sort of framing problems. That is, I think the IGF is a framing exercise. We develop together a vocabulary to address certain problems. And in that respect, the IGF is very similar to the evolvement of environmental policy in the 60s and 70s. It simply didn't exist. There was no common framework for addressing problems with pollution of air, pollution of dirty water, problems with the soil. All these things had to be brought together in one framework. And I think this is what the IGF is really good at, helping us to frame problems that concern everybody who uses the internet.